Okay, I'm gonna talk about how I got to where I'm at on these very heavy political issues that are, from my observation, causing people a lot of upset. I see a lot of people really upset about what's going on in the world today, and I understand because it's a lot of stuff that's not really pleasant. Why am I not really engaging in all that? How did I get to this space where I'm just like focused on a different kind of living? Well, it's not because I'm sticking my head in the sand and in this dreamland and like in denial of reality or anything. What's actually happened is because of the process that I had to go through to heal, I discovered that like everything's energy. Everything. All the thoughts, feelings, emotions that we have are all energy. And when we have strong thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you know, they, if we if we have an experience that we can't quite process as a human, which means to feel how we feel, say we have a feeling and it's deemed inappropriate, and so we're told we can't feel it. That that can anchor the energy in us and start looping the energy in our experience, in our energy body. Like our energy body, it extends past where our physical body is. If you've ever heard of the aura, the aura can contain layers upon layers, and even past what the aura encompasses, there's energy here. Everything is energy. Um, you can use your energy to project long distance. Like it can go past your energy body. Like you would call this like a cord of energy. So if you have a thought about somebody, the reason why you can tell when somebody's thinking of you repeatedly is because you feel it. You have a thought of them. You get this prompt. Maybe, and it can probably start to go both ways for sure. But if you have, thoughts that keep repeating and keep repeating, it's coming to your awareness for a reason. It's because it's in your energy. Okay? So when I started understanding life on these terms, my life really, really changed. And I got really good at following the energy streams and kind of dissecting and understanding what they were. Now, I have been guided through this. I have guidance. I have a connection to spirit. My crown chakra and my third eye are very active. And so I can hear messages. Now, grounding them to the earth, that's where my weaknesses are. That's where my work is. My work is getting into my body, staying in my body, you know, doing all the earth things. So, admittedly, I'm sure that my method looks really weird to a lot of people who are perfectly capable and fine at coping within the world on the level that they're used to, which is this three-dimensional level, 3D level of Earth and our experience on Earth. But what's been happening is we've had this evolution. So now we are becoming more and more aware of the fact that there's more than just our physical three dimensions here. There's other dimensions here that all contain energy, and that energy is all affecting us. And so when I started on this journey, I actually came across the Kabbalah, the information about the universal energies and laws, the laws of the universe. So the laws of the universe show that you can just take a higher law. So we have like the laws of science and physics and all that here, and it's like there are higher laws than that. And I started dabbling with those higher laws. And then you can manipulate and understand that your power to use energy is much, much bigger than you've been led to believe. But I wouldn't have known that if I was not already failed at at doing the earth stuff. I had no way to succeed in the terms of 3D world because I'm not equipped that way. That's where my challenges are when I come into Earth. That's Earth as a school for me is a school on how to get into my body, how to be on Earth, how to live successfully on Earth. with the information that I have access to, because that's where I naturally have access. I naturally am open to the spiritual realms, this other part that encompasses energy, and that also this energy is, accessible from higher planes of existence that trump what is happening on the 3D. And this is why I've been able to, manipulate people's energies to do healing and things like that, and healing on myself. And so understanding that everything's energy and being able to trace back energy streams, like say somebody is sending you like kind of vibes, bad vibes, like they don't like you, and they think about it all day, and they think about it a lot, and they think about it again and again and again. You will feel that energy, if you're very perceptive, like I am, of energy, you can feel it. Now, when I started this journey, I wasn't very perceptive of energy. I was inundated with energy. I was overwhelmed by energy, and I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't really sort out what was what. And it took a lot for me to get to a point where now I know. Now I know if an energy comes to me and it's not my energy, because I feel immediately that it's a foreign energy. And the places that I don't are the places that I have left to heal. So how did I get to a point where I could be so clear in what my energy is versus somebody else's? Well, it's because when in tracing those energy streams, I understood that some energies start looping in your experience when you anchor them in, and when you've not been allowed to feel how you feel as a human. The energy can get stuck until you learn how to feel that feeling. And if you are of the belief that that feeling is not valid or allowed or anything like that, you will probably suppress or deny it in yourself, and then, because it's still in your energy body, it's still in your energy, even though you suppressed and denied it, you didn't just let it pass through, you didn't integrate it into your heart as a wisdom or lesson, you just suppressed and denied it. So now it's looping in your energy. And an energy reader can most definitely see what's looping in your energy, but it doesn't mean that you're wrong. This is how humans work. We all have something looping in our energy. But I'm trying to explain how I got to where I am. So I took these loops, and the way that I see the loops, so if it's looping in your energy and you're not allowing yourself to see it in yourself, you'll usually see it in someone else. So what I did was took the things that I saw in other people and turned it around to myself and said, where is that? Why do I feel that way? Where did that come from? Is it true? When's the first time I felt this way? How many times has this been repeating? Oh, this is a pattern. And then I validate, I acknowledge, so that's me acknowledging that it's an energy that's in me. And then I validate where I got it from. So, okay, this is why I have been feeling that way. This is why I didn't allow myself to feel that way, because my mom told me that it was not okay. Or I saw my dad be really angry, and that did not look good. So I denied anger in myself from this point forward, and now anger has been suppressed and denied. When we suppress and deny anger, that is one of the root causes of cancer to manifest, because once we have ignored this looping energy for long enough, our immune system is trying to get our attention. So every single time you had an opportunity to be angry, you chose not to. You said, oh, no, anger's bad, I'm not going to do anger. If you didn't have a healthy outlet or allow yourself to feel the anger and love the part of you that felt angry, you suppressed and denied it. And now that energy is kind of like a poison in your body. And your body is now going to get louder because you didn't allow the pattern of it to play out, and you suppressed and denied every time you had that opportunity to feel the anger. Now it's going to be like harbored in your energy body, and now it's going to come as a physical ailment, cancer. And that's because holding on to that energy, it's a dense energy that is disempowering. It's a healthy, normal thing to feel anger. It's okay to feel it. When you start acting on your anger, you can get yourself in trouble and you can harm others. So So there's a difference between being able to feel something and then acting on it. Those are two different things, and I think that is an important thing to distinguish, because you can certainly perpetuate an energy by acting it out. That's a perpetuation, and then you will usually pass it along to someone else. So now not only will you have that experience, but they will too. And sometimes that feels better when you're a human, because, it's like forcing somebody's empathy. Like, oh, you want to know how I feel? Boom. Have some of this anger. That's how I feel. So now it's this shared experience, and now you don't feel so alone in it, right? So it can really be spread until it hits somebody who's conscious. So the more of these energy loops, the more times I looked outside myself, saw something I didn't like, brought it back into myself, loved the part of me that felt it, understood why I felt that way, then I could have compassion for the other, and I could say, oh, well, I know why I felt that way, so maybe they're just showing me how they've been treated. Maybe they have a valid reason to feel that, and they have not been allowed to feel that too, And now you have compassion for the other person. And now, if somebody else comes at you angry, you have compassion automatically for that person. This is how we clear our field. This is how we clear our view. This is how we stop passing the viruses of anger and dense energies. And the reason that I have the view that I have is because I've done that enough on enough things that cleared out my energy body. So now when another energy comes in, I can feel what it is. I know what it is. I can translate it. I can ask my guides, and they can tell me. They just tell me, like in a little download. I know it may sound really crazy to somebody who hasn't been living this way, and that's okay. Like, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to show you an option. I'm here to tell you there's a whole nother way to do this that we may not be aware of, because we have not been allowed to know this. It's as simple as that. This is all our power. This is where our power is, and our freedom. And when we've been distracted with all the things that I see distracting us, that is disempowering us, and that is keeping us from the stillness that we would need to find this out about ourselves, from the space that we would need. Like, there's all kinds of things. The whole society is set up to keep us from actually learning our own power. But because I couldn't keep up with society on society's terms, and I fell out of the race, I was alone with myself for long enough that I got to understand it. Like, I was pretty desperate to understand it. I was miserable. I didn't want to live here anymore. I was done. And I did a lot to try to avoid living here and taking responsibility. And what it comes down to is I had to take responsibility for how I felt on each and every thing. And I'm talking about things that everybody else felt justified in feeling, like hate for pedophiles and hate for people who are violent. It's like I had to love and accept the parts of me that felt those ways, And something weird happens when you love and accept the part of yourself that feels that way, instead of justifying the part of yourself that feels that way. There's a big difference. Justifying and loving and accepting are different. One is done by ego in an effort to keep that anger going, because the ego thinks that the anger is important, and it doesn't want you to own it as your own, so it's making you put it out there. Because it doesn't feel safe to feel it as your own, because Dad's example was not very cute, and you don't want to be like that. Whatever you decided as a child for the reason of not allowing yourself to feel this fully is the belief that is keeping you a prisoner to that energy looping in your field. And so what happens is, as you clear these things, you don't experience it anymore. It's like, I barely ever see any stuff out there for Black Lives Matter, or the violence that's happening, or the political fights and stuff like that. I'm just focused on this whole other way that I've realized we can live. And I realize that not everybody understands this. But what am I supposed to do? Just not live that way because nobody else is doing it? I can't do that anymore. I tried that. That didn't work either. That was me suppressing and denying who I really am. And who I really am is just this inquisitive mind that wasn't going to stay down. I was going to get back up, and get back up, and get back up, and get back up, and get back up. And that's what I'm going to do every time, is I'm going to get back up. no matter how many times it takes, and no matter who tells me that I'm wrong or in la la land or crazy or whatever. Like, it's like, I know too much now, guys. I know too much now. You can't disempower me that way now. Like, I've already stood on my own. I've already been shunned. I've already been misunderstood. I've already been humiliated. I've already been gossiped about. I've already been the victim of love spells and envy spells and jealous spells and sabotage and self-sabotage and all kinds of triggers and misery. And also, you know, I've lived them out too. Before I got to this point, I would live in those energies, you know, violence and all that stuff was a natural part of my life too. So it's not like I'm like denying that exists. I understand that exists. I've just been able to love the part of myself that needed that experience. And when somebody else is having it, I don't hate on them. I have much compassion. I understand. And it has been a learning curve for me, because right at first I was like, oh, I want to tell everybody, I want to save everybody, I got to save everybody, I got to save them, I got to save them. It's like, no, I don't have to save them. This is their school. They're learning, and they're learning at their own pace, and when they need me, they'll ask. That's it. So I just got to be me. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because I like to talk. I like to talk about new ideas that are different and potentially freeing. And when I talk about my ideas and how I'm living and how I'm experiencing life, maybe that frees you up to do the same. And maybe we can learn from each other, you know? Because this is just where I am at on the journey. And if no one had come before me to do these things, I may not have taken the leap to try doing them for myself in my own way, you know? It's like somebody had to be the example to make me think out of the box and make me realize, oh, there's another way to live. And then I just caught on, and then I just did my work, and it was work. It's been work. It's really hard, you know? You have to be willing to go through pain, but I was already in pain. I was already really ready to give up. There was, like, it was an easy choice for me. So that's where I'm at. I'm living life in terms of energy, and anytime I have a judgment outside of myself, I take it within myself and look for the meaning and the cause and the acknowledgement of why it's there, and then love myself through it. Love the part of me that feels that way. Lots and lots of it is rooted in my childhood, and I had a very tumultuous childhood. So a lot of my programming is based on all of the chaos. All of the chaos that everybody's kind of living through now was how I grew up. And that's why I can kind of see the parallels between what I have healed and what other people now are going to go through healing. But they can do it. I know they can do it. And it's easy. It's not easy. It sucks because sometimes you can get into this disempowered state, and then your entire view is filtered by fear. And you don't think that there's any other way to be. You feel you have your ego telling you the justification for everything you feel. And we've got society set up in a way that it's not okay to fail. So it's scary to step outside of the box. It's scary to admit that you're wrong. It's scary to admit you don't know the answer. All of these things have caused humiliation and singling out and being laughed at, and all of those painful kind of human experiences you can have when living in a paradigm of lack where people are competing with each other and thinking there's not enough. But once you've experienced all that and then healed the parts of you that feel it, that can't keep you anymore. That can't keep you anymore. There's like something inside of me that's an energy, and I've learned to clear and love all the parts of myself that I didn't love, you know, and as more come to my awareness, they'll love and clear those too. I mean, that's all I'm gonna do. Like, it's freedom. It's freedom. It's freedom. Why would I not do it? And then I'm not like all caught up in this like political game and this division and this fighting and this justifying what I think and feel. I don't have to justify what I think and feel. I just have to do it. I just have to be it. I just have to, you know, and if someone came along and like criticized me and said, God, you're so crazy, or how dare you, or you're causing more harm than good, I know none of that's true. So they can't get me there. That's like coming and saying, you're purple. It's like, well, I know I'm not purple, so that's not going to bother me, you know? If someone comes along and hits on one of my weak spots, and I'm sure there are people who will do it for me, and I'll love and thank them by the time it's over. Maybe I won't love it in the moment that it's happening, but I will take that reflection that poked something in me, activates one of my energies, and go be by myself and figure it out. And then after I figure it out and heal it, then I will see past it. And then I will know that that was a messenger to me. That person helped me by showing me my weakness. Thank goodness for that person setting me free from what was holding me back. Anything outside of me that has the power to set me off balance or off kilter is one of my weaknesses, and I want to know about that. I do. So it becomes this, like, I don't know, just life of much more ease and acceptance and love and opportunity for joy and happiness and laughing at human nature more than being offended by it, and learning about human nature more than justifying it, and being okay with being wrong, and being okay with doing something new that doesn't work out, like experimenting my way out of anything that was keeping me down or bored or anything like that. It's like, well, if there's room for improvement, and I see there's room for improvement, why not just experiment a little and see what I can do? And if it interests me, great, and if it doesn't, I'll go in another way. But basically, that's why I'm at where I'm at with, the political scene and all of that stuff. Yeah, it just doesn't interest me because I see it as a way of distracting ourselves and pinning what we have in ourselves on each other. But I'm also not judging the people who are doing that, because I spent plenty of time doing that. That's the whole game, right, of being human in the 3D realm. That's what it is. You think that there's not enough, you think we have to compete, and you think we have to fight for it. That's the deliberate programming that was put into us. And that is what we are now being given a chance to evolve out of. And what I've laid out is just one way to do it. I'm sure there are plenty of ways to do it, and I'm sure your way is perfect for you. My way is perfect for me. My example is just that, like, you can do it, And I'd love to be, matched up with more people, more and more people who are doing it, however they're doing it. And if they want to talk about that, that's great. I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about our freedom. I want to talk about where we're going, where we're headed, what the solutions are that we have come up with to restructure the things that aren't working, the things that are allowing people to fall through the cracks and all of that. And sure, we don't all agree all the time, So maybe that's a clue about maybe we don't have to be all ruled by one government. Like, perhaps the smaller governments make more sense, right? Perhaps small, intentional kind of communities make more sense to live happily within, a realm of people that you do agree with. Why not that? And not that you have to hate the people that don't live like you, that we have mutual respect for how we want to experience life. Like, what about that? Why not that? Like, there are just limitless possibilities, and that is just one of them that just came out of my mind that I hadn't, put a lot of my energy into, but that I see as a viable solution to the way that we're doing it now. And I'm sure there are many, many more. And I'm sure that our younger generation, as soon as that they're allowed to be re-empowered, will guide us well through. I'm sure that they are well prepared as soon as they are re-empowered. So I think that we have perhaps allowed our youth to become disempowered, and that's why we see them not falling in line to what we want. But that's because that was always part of the design. When you look at the bigger picture through astrology and the energy and the fact that we're going through an evolution, you understand that there was always going to be a time when we restructured, when we needed people who wouldn't do it the same old way. And that's what we have, a whole generation of people who won't do it the same old way. You see that. I'm a person, like, I was just a little bit ahead of that. Like, I couldn't do it the same old way. I tried. I just couldn't. And it's not because I'm a failure. This is exactly who I am and what I'm supposed to be. That's just it. Alright, So if you stayed with me this long and you want to talk about any of these issues, by all means. If it's for, the purpose of understanding, I'm glad to have a conversation. If it's for the purpose of correcting me or things like that, I might take the reflection that you offer, but I'm not really going to waste my time, trying to argue with people. Like, I believe that what you believe is right for you, and I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I'm just telling you my experience of life and what I've observed through my own experience of life, and what I've learned about life through my experience of life and how it's worked for me. For me. And I'm really happy with how it's worked for me. And it's natural to want to share that.